Welcome to Cranes Creek Acres. This is our garden spot. We are getting ready to turn this yard into a garden. You can see I have a slight little area right here that was a garden last year, and I used wood chips and it did okay. We got some squash and zucchini out of it, but pretty much everything else out of the garden didn't come out well. So we're wanting to expand the garden this year, and so we're planning on making it about, well, the fenced-in area that we're going to do is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 feet deep and 72 feet wide. And I don't think we will get the whole garden planted this year. I'm not planning to, but I am wanting to get that size of a garden established. And so we're planning on coming in here and get rid of the grass and going with a no-till system is what I'm hoping to do by putting down some compost and then wood chips for my walkways and creating some garden beds. But before we can do that, the first thing we've got to do is you look around here, you'll see that we've got to get rid of all this grass. And so my plan is to bring in some chickens and set up a temporary fence and put my chickens in here, but I need a place for them to stay. And I want to show you what I have. So I got this from my dad. I have a little bit of a chicken coop that has been through several different people, and I have it now. And this is what I was planning to use, was this chicken coop right here. And you can see I got my walkway right there. And here's the gate that's currently, or the door that's currently being used on it. And it had a brick tied to it. You just pulled it up like that. And that's how the chickens came in and out. This isn't very secure. We've got coyotes around here. And then the other issue that I noticed is that I am going to have to clean out, if you look down in here, you'll see I would have to clean out the manure all of the time. And so I'm wanting to use the manure. I want it spread out here on the garden. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a chickshaw. Chickshaw, is that the right word? Anyway, I'm going to build a mobile chicken coop. And so that's what we're going to work on today. And so we're going to come inside and we're going to see about building this mobile chicken coop and getting things ready for the garden so that we can get some chickens out here. And so let's go inside and let's get started working on the chicken coop. I've always believed that animals, plants, and humans should work together in harmony. So my desire to have a garden with chickens and a chicken coop comes from the idea of putting them together, and working together will create an amazing outcome. Some of these ideas start from my childhood when we had chickens as a kid. I don't remember exactly how old I was the first time we had chickens, but I know I was younger than 7. At the time, we were living in the Azores Islands, and we had a house that had an orchard beside it and an area to keep chickens in what I would call a side yard. It was probably a 50 by 50 area that had a rock wall around it. In the Azores, all of the rocks that had been taken out of the ground, so the farmers had good soil, those rocks were stacked up and had created rock walls. And in one of these areas is where my dad decided to keep some chickens. Now, each of us boys had a favorite chicken, and I don't know exactly what all we had done to make them our favorite chicken, but I remember my favorite chicken was a black chicken. I remember that I was very disappointed that my chicken did not ever produce chicks. She never would sit on a clutch of eggs and hatch out chickens, and I was disappointed because my brother's chickens had. And there was a time when she got broody, but all she would do was just sit on the rock wall. But we had chickens, and some of the fun of these chickens was when we were able to go hunt for eggs. There was a couple of times when they would escape and they were going out into the orchard and laying their eggs, and it was our responsibility to go out and to find them. And I kind of remember it being like an Easter egg hunt where we would go out and look for chicken eggs, and a couple of times we failed, and a short time later, a chicken would come back with a freshly hatched clutch of chicks. I have done a little bit of prep work on the mobile chicken coop, and so I want to show you what I'm working with so that you can understand why I'm making mine the way I am. You might want to make yours a little bit different, or if you're just watching it for entertainment, enjoy the show. I have some crates here. This is not the crate I'm going to use right there, but it's the crate I guess I was going to use it, but I only had one of them. But I found these crates at Walmart. You can find them on sale. I found some for $1 a piece, and so that's what I'm going to go with. But any kind of plastic crate that you want to use, and so that's what I'm working with. I've got it mocked up, my chicken coop, just a little bit here, as you can see what I'm working with. And I'll try to give you a little better view here. And so I'll go ahead and take this, I'll take this down a little bit more. I just had it mocked up for making sure that I have my sizes that I want, that it's going to line up right before I go to gluing things and screwing them down. And so we're just going to continue working on building this, and hopefully maybe we'll get it knocked out here in just a little bit. It wasn't always Easter egg hunting with our chickens. I remember one of the roosters that we had was mean. He took protecting those chickens very seriously, and he would always come after us and go after my mom. And I remember my mom complaining about it, so my dad decided that he would take this rooster and hold him down a little bit. There was a door that was been scrapped, and I remember my dad taking some string and tying it around that rooster's leg and tying it to the doorknob of that door that sat in the chicken pen. And that rooster would get so upset when we would come inside his pen that he would jump up and come after us, and he was able, each time he jumped, to drag that door. From what I can remember, it seemed like a foot or two each time he would try to come after us. That went on for a little while, and I think my dad got tired of that rooster being so mean. So one day he decided perhaps it was time that the rooster became part of chicken stew. So my dad decided that he was going to butcher that rooster, and I suppose that him and my mom had talked about it and we overheard it, and so us boys all wanted to see how this was done. And so we went outside with my dad, and he was getting everything ready, and he had the rooster there ready to be um, harvested. And he told us, boys, son, y'all need to go up. I think I'll do this by myself. So we went up and got behind the rock wall, and we stuck our heads over the rock wall, and that was our first experience of seeing how a rooster became chicken stew. So this is the finished version of our mobile chicken coop. We built this chicken coop a 4-foot by 4-foot, and I just looked at a couple different people that were online on YouTube, other YouTubers that were producing chicken tractors, or chickshaws as Justin Rhodes calls it. And so that is his primary design. And then I was looking at another fella. I can't come up with his name. Maybe I can put it in the write it in, his version of this mobile chicken coop. And so I looked at both of them and then created this one. And so you just build however would meet your needs. And I wanted mine pretty light, and so I liked the way that I was watching some others build them. And so I just kind of followed their plans. This one here requires 12 2x4s. And so I ripped down a lot of them to 2x2s. And so I have a 2x4 frame all the way around the bottom. And it's 8 foot long here, coming out here so that it's easy to pick up. Some people drill a hole in the ends and run a metal rod through there. For right now, I just have a 2x4 right here that I can pick it up. And so this is really light. Like I said, the 2x4 frame is just on the bottom and then the corners, and then the rest of everything else is what I'm going to call a 2x2, but it's 2x4 that's ripped down. So here's the inside of it. You can see my rest for the chickens when they come in to roost at night. I still have to cut out the openings in case they, right now of course we don't have enough daylight for eggs, but we have a couple of nesting boxes here that we're going to prep. And so this required the 12 2x4s. I have 2 sheets of this vinyl corrugated material that I just picked up at Lowe's. They're 8 feet long. I think they're 26 inches wide. And then I have a roll of wire that has 1 inch by 1 inch squares. From what I understand, that's important so that the manure from the chickens will fall through and be on the ground and help to create fertilizer. And so instead of having to clean out the chicken coop, we're going to want that. That roll of wire was, I think it's 15 feet long by 26 inches wide. I picked that up at Lowe's as well. And I picked up a small sheet of plywood that I used for gussets. They're on the corners. You can see them. And then some assorted screws. And so this is the mobile chicken coop. And it's going to, we're going to bring it in here for our chickens so that they can prepare the garden spot. This right here is my garden spot last year rather. And it wasn't very big. We're going to make it a little bit bigger this year. But I want to get some chickens. So I want to get some chickens to go ahead and prepare my garden spot. Get them to work the ground over and eat this grass that we have. And so we'll be working on that. Next video, I think we're going to be working on fences. I'll show you the type of fencing that I have on my perimeter. We put in high tensile wire, and I've never done any kind of fencing, and I just looked around, did a little bit of research on the internet, and went to work. And so it's been up for about 2 years now. And I'll show you how we're going to do our electric netting. We got our poultry netting from Premier One. And then of course I think we'll discuss some other fencing that you need. Right over here you'll see my dog lot and some of the problems of why it doesn't work very well, and so we'll address that. You'll see our dog here, if I can find her. Where's she at? There she is. And so you'll see that she had puppies, and the reason she has puppies is because our fencing was not secure enough, and so we'll tell you about that as well. But we got 5 little puppies now, and they're about 4 weeks old. So anyway, I hope you enjoy the video and come back again, so we'll talk about fencing, and we'll see you then. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.